stabbings a week in Luton, every week. Like, so what you grow up thinking is normal, it's not normal.
So you saw this because of Luton, and in a way you think it's spreading. I mean, it is spreading.
So Luton's a blueprint.
Right. And for example, the terror attack at the Manchester synagogue on Yom Kippur, I think has been another wake-up moment for a lot of Jewish people. I don't know if you saw that speech that David Lammy did to the Jewish community.
I saw him try and talk. I think it's absolute insult that he even showed up with his views. He is part of the problem. He's caused the hostility. Do you know when a lie is told 1,000 times? Yeah, like the English Defence League, for example. So every single English Defence League demonstration, every single one, a non-white person spoke. I made sure of it. A gay person spoke. Everyone. We had Tommy English, who was leader of the gay division. We had a gay division, a gay and lesbian division. We had a Sikh division, a Hindu division. We had divisions that suited my mindset, yeah, of how I've been brought up, and to welcome everybody into a movement that was opposed to Islam, which was our sole objective.
So I just want to pause you there because, I mean, we've moved off David Lammy. It doesn't matter. I want to ask about Islam because this is the point. A movement against Islam. Now, there are some Jewish people I know, you know I'm Jewish, there are some Jewish people I know who are terrified to hear when you say something like, I oppose Islam. And that's because in our history, we have people who opposed Judaism, who persecuted Jews and what have you. The point I think that many people were saying in Manchester to David Lammy, and generally in response to that horrible incident, that killing in the synagogue, is Jews don't do those things. Jews aren't blowing themselves up. Jews have integrated.
They're not quoting the Talmud whilst raping kids.
Right. So they're not praying in public in the street. They're not trying to push the religion itself. Its ethos is actually, it's exclusive. It doesn't want you to convert. It makes it almost impossible, very hard to do it. Whereas Islam, by definition, I don't think it's controversial to say, is a religion that wants to recruit.
Yeah, conquest.
It wants to recruit everywhere. So I'm curious, when did you first, can you remember in your mind when you first became aware of Islam?
Yeah, I can. And the point I was just going to make on David Lammy, just to make it, when you tell a lie 1,000 times, then people just take it as the truth. So many people right now in Britain and across the world, through a massive propaganda campaign, believe that Israel is committing genocide. They actually believe it. Yeah? The figures are fucking ridiculous. It's a joke. It's a joke if you actually look at the figures, look at the demographical change in Gaza. It's the only population in the world that's gone up by 10. Even the Muslim population, the Arab Muslim population in Israel, which people just don't have a clue. There's 2 million Muslims comfortably, happily living in Israel that are part of government, that are part of the judges, that are Supreme Court, but no one knows that, yeah? Because there is a mass campaign to tell everyone Israel's an apartheid state and there's genocide.
Well, you know, when we're in Israel, I spend quite a bit of time there for work and also family, where every morning where I wake up near Jaffa, you hear the muezzin in the street. I don't hear that here. That Israel, Tel Aviv, there is the mosque down the road. Everyone is getting along fine there. And it's actually, I would say, more integrated.
No, it works better than here. Like I went to Israel, and when I went to Israel...
2016, right?
2016, yeah. And I went there on a search mission, because I thought I talk about these issues a lot, yeah? What do I actually know? What? I haven't been to Israel. So when I went there, I went to a Fatah-controlled refugee camp in Bethlehem. So, and I risked my life doing that. It was pretty stupid probably now I think about it. But I paid some young Muslims in Israel that I met. I said, right, I want to get into the refugee camp. And I went with my friend from school. There's pictures of us. He's a black lad. There's pictures of us when they say I'm a Zionist because I'm wearing the kippah near the Wailing Wall. But I'm with my mate. We're just my mate from school, and he liked history, yeah? And we grew up together. And so I said, come to Israel. And when we went to Israel, I was like, right, I've sorted it. We're going to go, because you know when you go to Israel, there's do not go past here. There's all these big signs, the danger zones. Well, I just went and thought, I want to go there. I want to go in there and see what's going on. So I paid these young Muslims, went into, and as we're in the taxi, I'm sitting there, but me and my mate had a big argument because he pulled me up before it. He said, I ain't come here to get killed. Oh, what the fuck are you doing? He said, I'm coming here to see history, not go to a terrorist camp. I was like, but I said, mate, because we were doing the Jewish side. So I said, but we have to hear their side. Yeah. So if we get in there, and I did say to him at the time, I said, Dean, if we get in there, yeah, and we spend a day there, it's going to be the best experience, right? Trust me. Let's just go and try. And as we're doing it in the car, as we're driving in, I'm thinking, what the fuck? Then I'm sitting there and I'm sending messages, I'm doing videos thinking, what the fuck am I doing? What am I actually doing? But I met this 4th generation Muslim lad, and he was lovely. And I related with him more than I related with anyone I met on that trip. Yeah, you could have picked him up out of where he was and put him into Luton, and he was the same upbringing. We were the same. It seemed like we were the same. And as I'm walking around this refugee camp, I'm looking at all the sides of the houses, saying, "Who's that?" And he said, "Oh, she's a martyr. She blew up the bus." But what I couldn't believe was that each of these families, so she lived in that house. He lived in that house. He lived in that house. All the murals on the walls, the terrorists, martyrs as he called them, the terrorists lived in those houses. So then as I'm walking along, I'm thinking, right, I said, so who's oppressing you? Expecting Israel. The Palestinian Authority. This is what pisses me off about what our government just done. Yeah, it's insane, yeah? But the Palestinian Authority. So I said, what do you mean the Palestinian Authority? How are they oppressing you? He said, never give, and this is a fourth generation Muslim, never give money to free Palestine. Yeah? He said, it doesn't come to us. It goes for weapons. Yeah. And I'm standing there thinking, right. And then he said that, did you know, so the Palestinian Authority, so when this lady or this man leaves this camp and stabs an Israeli, that's what he said, and they get paid a lifelong money for the family. So every month they get money from the Palestinian Authority for the rest of their lives. So then I looked at my mate and I'm thinking, I've got 3 kids, Dean's got kids. We always hear in the UK that the route to extremism is poverty. Yeah? I said, where's the football pitch here, bruv? He said, there's no football pitch. I said, where's the park? He said, there's no park. And I was playing football with all the kids. There's videos of it. I'm playing football with the kids. We're just in the street. They're all running around. My heart bled for those kids, yeah? And I thought, well, I'm a dad. So the only way you get out of this camp, yeah, is if you go stab someone, that then you get rewarded by the Palestinian Authority.
Well, actually, I interviewed, in an interview like this, a brilliant woman called Anat Burko, who is a criminologist. She has had a career going into Israeli jails to meet terrorists who are in jail, failed suicide bombers or dispatchers. And so many of them
done it for this.
Actually go into jail to get a better education, because in the Israeli jails, they can get high school, they can get degrees. And so she writes, she made quite good bonds with them. You know, she didn't befriend them, but she got their confidence. She talked with them. And it's really interesting. I'll send you the video because it's very interesting how she talks about it. So I think there is an element of wanting to escape from that.
But the only way you can escape is to, and when he said go stab an Israeli, yeah, and I said, so if you go stab a Jew, and he kept correcting me. He said, no, stab an Israeli. And I said, what do you mean stab an Israeli? So it doesn't matter if it's a Jew or a Muslim. I was like, what? So you can go and kill it, which is what they've done on October 7th. Bedouins got killed. They just went on a massacre. But so I said, so you can leave this camp. And it just threw my whole head. Like, because I always thought it was jihad. I thought every element of it was jihad. But then I started looking and thinking, well, these men are just mercenaries. These men are just being financially rewarded to go stab someone from Israel to get their family out of this poverty-stricken 4th, 5th generation. Like the lad says, I'm a 4th generation refugee. My children will be 5th, his will be 6th, theirs will be 7th. We're never leaving this camp. And he said, because it works, and it does work, because I left that camp wanting to give them money. Yeah. So he said, they bring Western politicians here, they walk them around this place, they look at the oppression, yeah. But he didn't mention Israel once. All was about the Palestinian Authority. So then I went and started looking up the Palestinian Authority. Who funds the Palestinian Authority? We do. British taxpayers' money. I couldn't believe it. Who have we just recognised and give a state? We've just recognised the Palestinian state for the Palestinian Authority. So the people in charge of now the state that the British government recognise and fund are the people paying people to go and kill people. You couldn't make it up. I went on this fact-finding mission to Israel. When I got back to Israel after this, I sat the gentleman down with cameras on him. I felt terrible, yeah? But I sat him down and said, can I tell you who I am? And he was like, what? And I said, have you heard of the English Defence League? He said, yeah. I said, so my name's Tommy. I'm founder of the English Defence League. And he was like, he was upset, visibly upset, but he said, why? Why would you have done this? I said, because I had to hear your story, bruv. I had to hear your story. And I wanted to hear your story. And then as I'm in Israel, so on the way back, we're going, there's 1,000 young Arabs, yeah, 1,000 young Arabs. There's someone with a Kalashnikov machine gun. I've got an I Love Israel t-shirt on, yeah. So I said, pull over. And the Arabs are racing camels. So I said, pull over the car. So we pull over the car and I get out and I video and I think, right, Trump had just got elected, yeah. So I think, let's see, I'm thinking someone's going to go mad at me and say stuff about my t-shirt. No one give a shit. No one batted an eyelid. So as I went over and I'm talking to them all about Trump, They all love Trump. Yeah? They said America strongman. We need a. This is all the Muslims. We need America strongman.